G'day trendsetters, Jom, that's J-O-M with Gravel Cyclist, coming to you today from the outskirts of beautiful Girona, Spain. It's right behind the camera for the launch of the all-new, redesigned, specialised Diverge gravel bike. A bike that Specialized calls the ultimate getaway vehicle. You may not be aware of this. Specialized has been involved in this thing we call gravel way before it was even known as gravel, because back in 1989 they released a bike known as the Rock Combo. It was a combination of a 26-inch mountain bike and a drop bar. And when I say drop bar, I'm talking about a flare drop bar with 7-speed and bar end shifters. It was a bike that was way ahead of its time. If you fast forward to today, you can see some similarities in some of the bikes we're riding. Moving forward to 2020, there's a ton of changes to cover, so let's dive in. First up is version 2 of the Future Shock design, an axial compliant suspension design that places the suspension beneath the stem and above the head tube. Specialized believe this suspension design is the most effective, as it's not affected in any way by pedaling forces versus suspension that is placed beneath the head tube. If you recall, Specialized put version 1 of the Future Shock suspension into production around 2016. It was originally developed to help mitigate the brutality of the Paris-Roubaix cobbles. Specialized realized they had a good design, and in 2017 they started testing version 2, which is now in production here. But the prototype was also seen under Peter Sagan. Specialized also realized the Future Shock technology crossed over nicely to gravel to help mitigate the bumpiness and nastiness of some of your local and not so local gravel roads. For version 2, they made changes relating to tuning, adjustability and spring rate. The hydraulic damping of the system is super easy to adjust on the fly, courtesy of the dial atop the stem. But it's not all about the Future Shock. Specialized has made a ton of changes to the geometry that has effectively made the bike longer and slacker. A slightly slacker head tube, a different fork offset, a longer reach, and a shorter cockpit are some of the changes they've made. In the 56cm example, the reach has been increased to about 13 to 14 millimeters, and the stem has been brought back to 90 millimeters in length. That effectively extended the front of the bike by about 30 millimeters. The total wheelbase has been increased by 35 millimeters, but Specialized has kept the chainstay short at 425 millimeters, but they use some special tricks to help improve tire clearance, which is now bumped up to 700C by 47 millimeters and 650B by 2.1 inches with some wiggle room. Specialized got around this engineering hurdle with a drive side chainstay that features a narrow 15mm solid beam of carbon between the tyre and chain rings. They also increased bottom bracket clearance, raising it to 80mm, up from the original 86mm of Diverge version 1. Mounting points have been improved on the frame and fork and beneath the down tube, making for 5 mounts total. There are discrete rack and fender mounts, and when the rear fender bridge is mounted, you're looking at clearance front and rear for 700C by 42mm tyres, which is pretty sweet. There is also the SWAT system, which sees storage move to inside the frame, storage, water, air and tools. Specialized enlarged the down tube to cater to the massive hole now found in the down tube, along with special carbon layups. The average Diverge painted frame weighs around 950 grams. Flat bars are very popular with some folks who ride gravel, and Specialized have recognized that. I don't have video of this particular bike. It's known as the Diverge Evo. This bike is designed completely around flat bars, meaning Specialized has lengthened the top tube and reach more than the Diverge, 30mm more. Specialized engineers rigged up this very trick frame to help figure out head tube angles, reach and so on. The Diverge Evo is available in aluminium E5 only and in 3 sizes. There are multiple levels of the Diverge, ranging from US $10,000 down to US $1,000. At the top of the line is the 11R carbon layup, which is only available in the Diverge S-Works model. That model also comes with a dropper seat post from X Fusion. The 9R carbon bikes make up the majority of the Diverge line, the Expert and the Pro, which all come with a new carbon seat post which replaces the CGR model. It's a very traditional looking seat post, and it claims to offer a good level of flex and compliance to help keep the ride comfy at the rear end. It's available in 0mm and 20mm offsets. The SWAT system is unavailable on some of the lower end models. You can check out the article on gravelcyclist.com for more of those specs across the entire model line. Specialized treated the assembled media to 2 days of amazing gravel riding around Girona, Spain. During that brief time, I had the opportunity to ride the pants off the new Diverge across every type of terrain you can think of. Gravel, dirt, smooth pavement, rocky descents, super steep climbs, and a lot more. On day 1, we rode the bikes with the specialized Pathfinder Pro tyre in 700C by 38mm. The original Diverge was already very good, but this new model with Future Shock 2.0 is a big improvement. The new geometry instills confidence across all road surfaces, especially when descending. I could never detect the shock bobbing at any time, even out of the saddle, but it really takes the edge off, especially when you point the bike downhill. You don't have to be as careful with your line thanks to the Future Shock, which overall aids handling and performance. The bike tracks so well in and out of gravelly corners, and on pavement, you could totally ditch your road bike and make this your only bike. On looser terrain, the 38mm tyres handicapped the bike a little, but we rectified that on day 2. On day 2, we rode the bikes with the specialised Tracer Pro tyres in 700C by 47mm. These tyres really transformed the bike's ability to tackle gnarlier terrain and were my favourite over the 2 days of riding. I'm no mountain biker, but you could easily take the Diverge onto some trails and have a blast, the only limitation being your skill level. I didn't have a scale with me, sorry, so I had no idea of the bike's weight. My sample was a 54cm expert level with Shimano GRX 1x Di2. Some of the terrain pushed the gearing on this bike to the limit, and this is where I'd much rather have a 2x spec bike with low gears and sands the gaps of the cassette. The SRAM spec 1x bikes do have lower gearing, so those variants may appeal to some riders. The bike felt light and climbed just like a nice performance road bike, albeit with bigger tyres. Out of the saddle for rapido acceleration, or in the saddle cruising along as I do, tapping out a tempo and enjoying the comfy ride. The longer wheelbase makes for a comfier ride versus the original Diverge, whilst the Future Shock 2.0 tames the front end. I love the SWAT system of storing a toolkit and other goodies inside the frame. It also keeps the weight down low. It's difficult to review a bike after only 2 rides, but I came away pretty impressed by the new version of the specialised Diverge. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Gravel Cyclist YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the bell button to be notified of future videos as they appear on the channel. I'll see you in the next video.